and I do work from the house before I come in. Kids have cross country now, so I had to adjust my schedule. I had to drop them off 6:30. So like I'm like in a weird place. Like, you know, you have a creative process, if you will, to get to the show. Like today, I feel like I'm not there right now. I don't know what time it is. Even though it's only 15-minute difference or 20-minute difference, I'm playing catch up.
What I'm struck by that is that your kids have cross country, they have soccer. Your wife's a fitness instructor. You're always doing the Ironman. Do y'all even have couches? Or y'all have like weight benches just assembled all over the house?
We have a few treadmills that you can stand on and walk while you're watching your cartoons and having your morning cereal. Yes. Yeah. No, we have couches. Okay. Even though the couches we currently have are not the most comfortable ones out there.
Because why would you want to sit down in it?
I mean, just so you know, I rest. I'm a rester. I'm a big believer.
I've been arrested.
Well, this I don't. Can we go into the details of this?
I haven't been arrested.
No, but it was a good start to the morning, but I'm playing catch up. We got some topics to get into. But I have noticed, you've probably noticed this too. You've been doing the show longer than I have. I feel like news breaks the moment we get off the air. Yesterday wasn't like breaking news perhaps, but the AP preseason All-Americans were announced like at 11:07. We got off the air at 11. You got off the air earlier than that, but it just like some of these topics I wish I could have held for yesterday, but we'll start the show with that because we got a few of our Aggies going in there, Kenyon Green and DeMarvin Leal, first team, while Isaiah Spiller and Jalen Watermeyer named to the second team All-American, AP All-American preseason team.
Yeah, I love that. It's something that, well, first of all, you like recognition for your team. That's great, but it still appalls me because I think, again, what are you basing DeMarvin Leal being a preseason All-American on that you saw? What did you see in him last year that the All-SEC voters didn't see?
I think the All-SEC voters perhaps don't give A&M the benefit of the doubt on certain things. That's a lot of national awards.
I've been saying that for a while.
But why?
But, again, DeMarvin, I think that's why I don't get too worked up about honor teams, because I've known too many guys that, derelicts like me that vote on them, and they'll just, I've been covering my team all year long. I didn't see anybody. Let me see who led the league in stats. And he said, sacks, okay, boom.
Is that how, because you can't watch every game of every team. What is typical criteria, or how do you go about voting?
Well, I don't anymore. Now, I know some guys take it really seriously, and I get calls sometimes. They say, hey, what do you think about this guy? Who from A&M really should we consider heavily? Give me a score 10, 9, 8, how much? And I'd say DeMarvin's a 10. And then he still doesn't make it. So that tells you that there are some guys that are just out there and they're not keeping up. They're not paying attention. And
I can kind of understand. I don't agree, but I can understand, like, if you are like our role, we are 100 miles an hour Texas A&M Sports, right? And if you come in front of us, we're going to pay attention to it. If you don't, we'll have to play catch up. We won't know it the same way we know. Like, I don't know the dudes at the University of Texas. I don't know if Bijan is as good as they say. I know he's good.
He's pretty damn good.
But, like, why would he get a nod and some of the recognition he gets and maybe not Achane? I'm just similar kind of numbers.
I think he had double the rushing yardage. But he played more, but he didn't start the year as their starter. I mean, he's really good. I don't mind giving credit where credit is due, and he's really good. Going back to the whole voting thing, though, I think what happens is in the preseason, then the NFL guys who actually go through the tape and make observations, things like that, then you start saying, oh, wait, this Leal guy, he's Green legit. Guy, these guys aren't just good, they're dominant.
So remind me, a year ago, maybe not even a full year ago, let's go middle of the season last year, you guys were watching Green and Leal do their thing. Yeah. They were emerging. But when did the narrative catch up with how good they were? Was it afterwards when NFL scouts were talking about them?
I think people caught up with Green because it was, you're watching A&M move the ball up and down the field running-wise, and you're seeing this guy, you would run it back and say, hey, look what Isaiah Spiller did on this play, and you're watching the game and you see everybody playing well, but Green was easy to see stand out. So, but with A&M, if you're not there all the time, you don't like DeMarvin Leal does not get credit for a sack. He didn't get a sack against Mississippi State, but he's all over KJ Costello, forcing him to throw early and short, and Miles Jones gets an interception in the end zone. So those are the kind of things you don't see, and you don't pay as much attention to what he does against the run because it's not sexy. Sacks are sexy, even though they can be overrated. I mean, I saw an A&M game one time where Deshaun, what's his name? No, gosh, an A&M game. Golly, number 10, opposite Myles Garrett. I can't even think of his name right now.
Deshaun Hall.
Deshaun Hall, thank you. Gets 4 sacks in a game. And it was like the only 4 sacks he had all year because the other side is paying so much attention to Myles Garrett,
right,
that he's one-on-one against a right tackle the whole time. So, you gotta sit back and really watch what's going on, and not everybody does.
Hey, I'm going to read you a text message on the A&B text line that has nothing to do with our topics today, and I need to set out the topics, but I didn't know this was a thing, and maybe Dalton can chime in on it. But it says, Goofy is a cow. And I don't know where that comes from, but it intrigued me enough to Google. I didn't realize there's a hot debate out there of Goofy from Disney being a cow or a dog. This whole time I thought he was a dog.
He's a dog.
But it's a debate out there. Do you guys know, am I speaking on, do you guys know anything about this?
I don't know about the debate. It just goes to show that people argue about anything because Goofy is a dog.
I've never heard of him being a cow. I've heard of him being like a wolf, or I don't know about a cow. I'm looking at it right now. I think he looks like a dog.
Actually, I think he's a real estate agent now after being a radio host a few months ago.
Oh, no. Goofy's got more hair.
Maybe. He's always got that hat on, right?
This is true. I'm sorry. It caught my attention, and I Googled it before the show, and I was like, this can't be an actual debate. Apparently, it is a debate. But here's one for us. The topic of the day, more of a national question, but we can certainly regionalize it here. Who is your favorite for the Heisman this year? I want you guys to think about that. You can call the show on the BCSI hotline, 979-693-1150, 979-693-1150, or you can text the A&B text line at that same number, 979-693-1150. We're here in the Rollo Insurance Studio, and we're going to go around and say hello to the peoples out there. Dalton, good morning to you there in the fishbowl.
Good morning. You see, you put me down there. You talk around to the peoples. You guys are the stars. I'm just the people. Is that what you were getting at?
See, you are sounding like some of these people out there, these people that like to complain about any situation. You are one of us, Dalton.
He probably started that Goofy thread.
Is that you?
It wasn't me.
Do you know anything about this topic, by the way?
I do not know anything about that. I saw that text as well when I got in, and very confused.
Yeah.
There's probably something. They must have been tackling it on the national show on before us.
Hey, it's just us three talking or us four talking. Do you think people know that, when Keyshawn is talking, he can't read the text messages in College Station?
I don't think so.
Just so you know, when you text message us, we get it. When you text, if they're on the air, they got their own number. Just throwing
Do
that
people
out there.
also know that you're supposed to text radio to 900-900?
No, for some
not
reason.
979-693-1150?
Inside Radio Talk. We'll go now to Tori Esprevo at the News and Social Center. Good morning to you, Tori.
Hi, good morning.
So your key card didn't work this morning? They tried to give you a hint?
No, women problems. I just switched my purse and I left my key card in my other purse, and I keep forgetting to go get it and take it out of my other purse. So that's the problem.
Well, what's going on in your world?
Nothing much. I just got a text from my mom saying she wanted a first day of last semester picture, but we don't start school till the 31st, so it's all good. But other than that, nothing much in headlines other than what you said for A&M football having practice today. And then our awards for Kenyon Green, Liao, Spiller, and Weidermeyer. But I do also have Texas A&M soccer standouts. Barbara Olivier and Carlina Sample were named to the Missouri Athletic Club's Heisman Trophy preseason watch list. And being that I was so short on some headlines, I wanted to read a text from David Edmond on our topic today. He said, I was the first. I called it weeks ago, and I stand by it. Haynes King is my Heisman favorite. The kid is a leader. Be ready to hear the phrase coach's son about 1 million times this season.
Put it this way. If A&M has the kind of season we expect them to have, and Haynes is named the starter, and I believe most of us believe that. I use the word believe a lot there. Yes, he will be one of the names that will be mentioned in it. If you're an undefeated team coming into the end of November, Haynes King has got a great chance, or whoever the quarterback is, to be invited to New York for the Heisman Trophy. I will tell you another one that I don't think gets mentioned a lot. Maybe I should hold my thought on this one for a little bit, but I'll just say it here. Anaya Smith. Anaya Smith, because of everything he can do, is another name that if A&M is on the trajectory we believe they're on, could be mentioned because of what he does on special teams, the receiving side of the thing, and running the ball.
I can see that, especially after a wide receiver won it last year. It kind of opens up things. And unlike Devontae Smith, who I guess did return a few kicks, Devontae does return punts, kind of like the old Desmond Howard, Tim Brown type of model, Johnny Rodgers that you had to be as a receiver, also had to return kicks. So I don't think that's too far-fetched.
Did you see that it looks like the Alliance is going to be announcing whatever partnership it may be later on today? Your face tells me you are just like whatever.
To me, this is so overblown. Okay, so 3 conferences are going to get together and they're going to say, hey, we're going to schedule each other.
Okay. But I think the reason it's a bigger story is because power in numbers to try to help block the power that the SEC has.
Doesn't the power usually start with television?
Sure does.
Okay, so are they going to have an alliance network?
I think what they're thinking is they can redo their TV packages, their streaming packages because of this. I believe the Big Ten will move, according to this report from Yahoo, the Big Ten would move to 8 conference games as opposed to 9, but then schedule at least 2 games against the ACC and the Pac-12, and it'll rotate each year.
Yeah, I can hardly wait for that, Purdue Wake Forest matchup, or that throw me out Northwest or Illinois against Oregon State.
Well, and I think part of it, too, though, is to slow down the playoff expansion. If you have those numbers, it slows it down. The SEC obviously trying to expand it because they believe 3 to 5, 6 teams could be making it every year once it gets to 12. And the other 3 conferences are like, let's just slow down and try to get our 2 or 3 in.
Yeah, and the other conferences have shown incredible leadership and foresight, haven't they?
No, they have not.
Yeah, I mean, the Pac-12 just had to fire their commissioner and start all over, and the Big Ten, we remember last year, thought they were going to make this mandate where nobody's going to play college football this year.
And everybody said bye.
Yeah, so good luck. I think the whole alliance stuff is much ado about nothing. But what do I know?
And I agree with you, but I will say they have to figure something out. And beyond this, I don't know what it is. I don't know. Do you try to get some kind of partnership with the SEC? Well, what move do they have now that the SEC is controlling everything? And they've controlled it for a while, but what can they do?
Well, I think the Big Ten is the only conference that could really do something. I mean, they could go out and, I guess, get the Big 12 leftovers, or maybe try to entice somebody from. Well, I think if they could, go all in on Notre Dame and hopefully, in their case, finally get Notre Dame to join a conference. But even though it seems like Notre Dame would be more likely to go to ACC if they did, but Florida State and Clemson, we keep hearing could be maybe a target at some time for the SEC, and they would be more of a cultural fit. There's no doubt about that. And the Big Ten, being an AAU member institution's always one of those big things about them. And I don't know about Clemson or Florida State, but I don't think that they're in there.
So Pete Futek was on yesterday, and he mentioned that he could see the SEC at some point going after some of those Big Ten teams because they don't really need the Clemsons of the world, the TV markets. They could certainly use an Ohio State if they're trying to do this super conference idea where they own all of college football.
Yeah, maybe, but I guess then you would go after Ohio State and Michigan.
Yep, pretty much. All right, we'll continue this dialogue.
Don't see it, but
we will also get into 21 and 21. Down to number 4. Who is number 4? I maybe talked about him. That's your tease. It's coming up next on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
Find out first. Get scores, updates, and more. Follow the Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM on Twitter. Zone 1150.
At United Roofing and Sheet Metal, we've got you covered inside and out.
Need help with your high wind or hail damage claims? Call Larry Winkler and the fine folks at United. United Roofing is your local, professional, family-owned business with over 40 years of service to the Brazos Valley. United is your insurance claims specialist, providing the most comprehensive full-system labor and material warranty in the roofing industry. Call United today at 268-ROOF.
Question: would you pick a chain barbecue place over a hometown joint? Do you root for East Coast universities instead of the local team? Nah, then why choose a big Wall Street bank? A&B started in 1892. 5 generations later, we're still owned and operated by the same Texas family. We support this community. We value your privacy. We make quick decisions, and we hate red tape. We answer to you, not Wall Street. Bank with A&B. Family owned, Texas proud. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
AggielandBigDeals.com. Shop local, buy local, save big. I'm struggling, can't pay full price. How about Aggieland Big Deals? Yeah, that's right. I'll be shopping local and saving big with discounts up to 30% on food, clothes, and car repair, or even entertainment and personal care. Is it really gonna be convenient though? Just download the app right on your phone. Oh man, that's slick. Now I'm all in. Those digital certificates are fun to spend. Plus I can print and send gifts along at AggielandBigDeals.com.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. I came out in the 11th grade. Nobody was embracing you. The kids were cruel. It was very difficult to be gay. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma. The hard part was determining that I was going to do it, but I definitely didn't do it alone.
At age 30, with the help of her mentor, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
I have a mentor, Maria. She convinced me to continue my education and to finish what I started to get my diploma. Just never judges. She's a true role model. If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, go get it. You can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
The best is yet to come in College Station.
Chase Lane is in for a touchdown! Yes!
Head coach Jimbo Fisher and the Aggies are ready to rise to the top of the SEC.
Swing to Anaya. He's in the end zone. A 6-yard reception.
Join us Saturday, September 4th. It's the season opener versus the Kent State Golden Flashes on your home for Aggies football, the Texas A&M Sports Network.
Listen to Aggie football on 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Online at RadioAggieland.com. Or tell your smart speaker to play Zone 1150.
Welcome back. TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. It is time for 21 in 21. We're down to the final 4. Yesterday was number 5, Jalen Watermeyer, and today we go to number 4, and that is the Anaya Smith. Factory Builder Stores can service builders and general public with locations throughout Texas, including right here in College Station on Old Welborn Road and Rock Prairie, just on the west side of the railroad tracks. Go see our friends, Jason and John, who are going to take very good care of you and all of your appliance needs. And with that, Anaya Smith, we talked about him as I don't want to call him a dark horse candidate for Heisman. I don't even know if he's in that mix, but I use that term because of where I think A&M is going as a team and what he means to this team. And OB, I don't think he's underrated, but I think outside of College Station, people don't recognize sometimes the importance that he brings, the versatility that he brings to this team.
Well, he's really good. There's no doubt about it. He's versatile, like you said. He does a whole lot for the team. To be a Heisman contender, and I know you aren't saying that you're predicting it. You're just saying
no.
it
I'm
could
just saying
happen.
he's got the kind of versatility that people like.
He would have to raise his numbers, which he will, because again, some conferences still played at least one game against the lesser non-conference opponents. Well, they never did that. They played a full SEC schedule, and he catches 43 passes. There's that's nothing to sneeze at. 564 yards receiving, but on top of that, remember so much time he spent in the backfield too. So he wasn't always a receiver. So I could see him, starting the conversation, just starting it at 60 catches for 700 yards. That's just starting. I mean, to me, that's the floor. And then, I'm sure he'll carry some, whether on, lining up in the backfield or some kind of reverse or something like that. And I think the real wild card is him as a punt returner. I don't know how many times I've seen it. It looks like he's one step away from breaking it. I can remember a time at Ole Miss, a couple other times, maybe at Mississippi State last year, where he looks like he's that close to breaking. And sometimes maybe he runs into his own guy or whatever. But if you have a season where he's really productive as a receiver and doing some other things and then starts returning a couple of kicks and A&M is winning and people start really going, look, I mean, for goodness sakes, 30 years ago, maybe it was longer, they tried to make Gordy Lockbaum, I don't know if you know who he is, from Holy Cross into a Heisman contender. He finished third because he played both ways.
Right.
So when you do see guys doing a whole lot of different things, sometimes it just resonates and you get a grassroots campaign going,
sure,
and you become a contender. Now,
I want to reiterate, I don't think he is a candidate, but what you're saying right there, there's a sexy appeal to what he brings to the table. The thing that hurts him also is the amount of weapons that A&M has as well. So his numbers are going to be somewhat limited because you got to get Achane his touches, you got to get Isaiah's touches, you've got a lot of wide receivers you got to throw to. So if from that respect, it'll go down. But if he's having the impact that we expect him to have, maybe they do.
Well, again, I think his catches and numbers and yards are going to go up because they're going to play more games.
Right.
Okay. And he's not always going to be at running back, more receiver. And so while you're going there, and I think maybe the number of catches per game could be about the same or down. I think the average per catch could go up.
Sure.
Because I see him drawing more single coverage out of necessity. And I don't know that anybody's going to cover him single coverage. He's so quick out of a cut, out of a break. Now, I don't know how much front line, straight ahead speed he has. He's not slow, but I don't know that he's just that, that burner, and which may be the one thing that keeps him out of the first round, because he's just such a good football player that makes plays and things like that. But now if he's faster, if he is a 4.4 guy, that's a different thing. I don't know if he is or not. But if you watch him closely, you see a guy that, again, you can't cover him coming out of breaks. He gets open. He needs to ball security, work on that a little bit. It's not a big problem, but with the game on the line against Florida, you can't lose that ball, like he did. But I think he more than made up for that. He blocks well. I mean, he does everything that you can do as a football player. I've heard it said that give him a couple weeks and he could excel at any position except in the lines because he's just not big enough. And I believe it. Sometimes I wonder about.
He's a bigger dude than you would expect standing next to him. I remember the first time I saw him up close. I'd seen him on TV, but he's a stocky, smaller stocky. Stocky's probably not the right word, but he's a very muscular 5'10", 190.
Kind of a sinewy guy.
Yeah.
It's all muscle and bone. And he's not afraid. He doesn't take an ounce of fear out on the field with him. He never has. He's been good since he was a freshman. I can remember him catching a ball against Arkansas and just juking his way around 3 guys. He just didn't know all the plays yet. Well, now he does. I think with them finally giving him a position that he can really settle in at, he could really just explode. Not that he hadn't already, but again, I fully expect the floor for him to be 60 catches, 700 yards, and probably 8 touchdowns. That's the floor.
The floor. That's pretty good if that's the floor.
I believe that because I think he's that good, and he's a 3-star.
So last year, 6 receiving touchdowns and 4 on the ground. So he had 10 touchdowns, a touchdown per game. That is fantasy-esque numbers where, if you play fantasy sports, which, by the way, I had a draft yesterday. I don't even know how to play fantasy. You would think I would know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. That being said, those are the kind of numbers that catch up when you score a touchdown a game. And if he brings that again this year, if you're saying the floor is 8, what do you think is the ceiling?
Well, I'm saying 8 on catches.
On catches.
The ceiling, I don't know. I mean, I think he has a chance to be a 1,000-yard receiver because he's just getting the ball in his hands, and he's just a big play waiting to happen. He made a lot of big plays for a team that didn't have a lot. I remember the long catch against Auburn to set up a touchdown. A couple of them against North Carolina. He's just he's just a really, 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 it's 3 really good football player that had this long run against Vanderbilt. He's just a threat, and he still has a stealth quality about him. Now, I know Alabama knows about him. That's another big play. Remember, they thought they were going to push him out of bounds.
Yeah.
And he has such great balance that he turned a short, 4 or 5 yard pass into a 50-yard touchdown against Alabama. So he is an exciting player, and I think that there are those – I saw on the ESPN had their top 100 college football players, and they gave him the respect to put him on the list, but they put him like number 93. And I'm just kind of laughing to myself, and I said, I love that, people know he's good, but they still don't understand just how good this guy is. And I would bet that if you do that same list at the end of this season, he's going to be in the top half.
So when we come back on the show, we're going to actually get into a player that is very similar to him in Devon Achane. You wrote a nice column about him, more touches for Achane, a smart money play for the Aggies. We will talk about that coming up next. But right now, a moment for our friends at the Association of Former Students. They are awesome guys. They just do such great work for the entire Aggie network out there. They are the oldest association and organization serving A&M in support of that Aggie network. And in 2019 alone, $125,000 to student organizations. You got $10,000 to the Warrior Scholar Project. I can keep going down the list, like lots of things that they have done, but none of that is possible without your help out there and helping out the Aggie Network. For $100 a year, about $9 a month, you're going to get that decal, the plaque, and the Texas Aggie magazine. Plus, you're continuing in the oldest, most inspiring tradition of Aggies helping other Aggies out there. Just go check out all the great work they do, the game day atmosphere, you name it. They are incredible. I want to encourage you to give out to the association. To learn more about the impact of the association or get involved, make a gift, visit aggienetwork.com/giving.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone. Hundreds of books geared to young readers will be on sale this Saturday at the Clara B. Mounts Library in downtown Bryan. Doors open to members of the Bryan College Station Friends of the Library at 9 a.m. and to the general public at 10 a.m. The Arts Council of Brazos Valley is hosting Celebrate the Arts on Wednesday, September 1st, starting at 6 p.m. at the Stella Hotel. Purchase your tickets online at acbv.org. Registration is now open for nonprofits wanting to participate in this year's Brazos Valley Gives event. Register at brazosvalleygives.org. The Brazos Valley Farmers Market is open in downtown Bryan each Saturday from 8 to noon. All produce is grown locally from friends and neighbors you know and trust. It's the pregame show. End the week and start the weekend when Bryce Jones joins the Louis Bellina Show every Friday at 12:05 to talk maroon and white and more. The gang is back together weekdays from 11 to 2. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
Here's Brad Beard of Intercon.
If you have considered replacing the windows in your brick veneer home, you may have been told that it would be necessary to either remove the brick or tear up the inside of your window box. You need to know that Intercon replaces windows and brick every day, and we don't tear up anything except the window which is being removed. By installing windows every day, Intercon personnel have worked out methods which result in the replacement windows being at least as neat and effectively installed as your windows were when they were new. This means that Intercon can furnish and install replacement windows which exceed today's tighter standards for efficiency. They look and perform just as well as the best windows in brand new homes. Call Intercon or visit our showroom and we will furnish you customer references for homes you can look at and homeowners you probably know who can tell you that Intercon can solve your window problems without wrecking your home or your budget, just as we did theirs. Intercon will furnish a free quote and we won't pressure you to buy.
Whether you have new construction or an existing home, let the fine folks from Intercon help your home energy efficiency year-round. Call Brad Beard of Intercon today at 823-3639. That's 823-3639.
Are we ready for the 5:30 pickup?
Cam's Courier Service's newest hire delivered his resignation.
Hey, Ray, who's handling
She now needs next-day shipping on a new driver.
all these boxes here? Are they ingoing or are they outgoing?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. With Indeed Instant Match, we immediately show you quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed meet your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams, and Zubin Mahente.
Who buys apples and take them and put them in their refrigerator or not when they go to the grocery store if they're not using them for apple pie or something? My go-to fruits would be the kiwi, the strawberries, blackberries. I don't do oranges and all. I don't, no.
Orange is all right. To me, orange is too much work.
It's Keyshawn, Jay Will, and Zubin. ESPN Radio. Mornings 5 to 8 on The Zone. Thanks to WC Tractor.
Hi to my friends on YouTube. Hi to my friends on TexAgs.com. They're on the live chat forum there. Hello to everybody. It is TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, 911 University Drive East in College Station. They've got it all over there. Go visit our friends out there. Shop online at davidgardnersjewelers.com. We're here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. And OB, your columns always catch my attention. You always find an interesting nugget to kind of chew on. And the latest one is on getting Achane the ball a little bit more because it's the money play. Explain for those out there what the money play is.
Well, the money play is any play that results in a touchdown or a first down, right? So it's pretty self-explanatory, right? And that keeps you going, keeps you moving. Either you're scoring or you keep moving toward a score. And we know that Devon Achane had 48 touches last year. Didn't play much early. 20 of those touches, I went back and charted every play. 20 of those touches resulted in either a first down or a touchdown. I think about 10 of them, were on 1st and 10, which just, again, goes to show the explosive nature of his game. But here's a guy that, I had to get – look, I'd be an accountant if I was good with numbers, right? So I had to get our smart guys upstairs, Royce and Garrett, to help me out. And
they are smart.
Do it this way, do it that way. I thought I was saying, does this mean every 2.5 times he touches the ball, he's getting a first down?
I remember, we had a conversation about that last week.
And they said, well, now you should look at it this way. And so then they said, go for the percentage. So that's almost 42% of the time when he touches the ball, it results in a touchdown. A touchdown or a first down.
42%, is that what you said?
41.6%.
Wow. Put that in perspective over a game. Now, obviously, those numbers would drop if it were an entire game, but not significantly because he's that kind of impactful player.
Against and he seems to get better. Against Auburn, I think it was something like 5 of his last 7 touches resulted in first downs. Against North Carolina, it was, I think, his last 4 was a 76-yard touchdown, an 11-yard run for a first down, a 23-yard run down to the 1, and then a 1-yard touchdown. Now, maybe that is part of it because he's got Isaiah Spiller softening up the defense throughout the game. And Spiller, by the way, was, I think, like a 30 – he's hitting 300.
Right.
With more carries and more touches.
And more carries between the tackles.
Right. And the more touches you get, it's like baseball. A bunch of guys might hit 600, 500 in April, but then they get more attempts and it starts to go down. But when you're averaging 8.7 yards a touch like Achane did, you're going to get a lot of first downs. You're going to score some touchdowns. 3 of his receptions resulted in touchdowns or first downs. I think he had the long touchdown catch against South Carolina. Seems like there was another touchdown catch. One of his catches that did not result in a first down was a 15-yard catch on 1st and 20.
I'll take that every time.
Yeah. So it just goes to show that, you got to get the ball in his hands more often because so many good things happen when he gets it. But, again, it goes back to the problem. But you've got Isaiah Spiller. So I guarantee you Achane's going to have probably double his carries, right?
Yeah.
So does that mean that Isaiah
Are
Spiller
you running the ball more?
50 fewer carries? Because you got guys you can throw to. We just talked about Anaya Smith and Chapman coming back and Chase Lane. And I think, that's just one of those things you keep looking at that I don't think everybody else outside of College Station or the guys that are really paying attention don't get about this A&M offense. That they're going to have a new quarterback, but that new quarterback has so many weapons to work with. And I was saying that if that's a money play, you got to invest more in Devon Achane.
Yeah, you do. It's a very good and difficult position for Jimbo to figure out. Look, I know he doesn't care who gets the touches, who doesn't, but these players do care about that. And if you're Isaiah Spiller trying to get into the NFL draft, you are concerned with it. That being said, the way you cure it all is by winning games. And if A&M is winning games, if one game it means Achane is getting the bulk of the load, or if it means Spiller's getting the bulk, or Anaya, or whomever it may be, if you're winning, all that other stuff is fine. You start losing, which we don't expect them to do this year, that's when it becomes a problem.
Yeah, I think Jimbo says he coaches by feel a lot. And, I think that's going to especially be the case this season. Because I have the feel of what's working. Is it just working, giving the ball to Isaiah Spiller like it did against Florida? Just hammer away with him, and then he starts hitting them for 15 yards and things like that? Or is it working to be throwing the ball to Anaya like it did in some of the games? Or is it North Carolina? Is it working to just give the ball to Achane like it did against Auburn and like it did against North Carolina? Whatever. I don't think they have to go into a game saying we're going to have to give. I think the guy over in Austin's already said, the coach over there has already said that they're going to just ride with their running back.
Right.
I don't think Jimbo Fisher has to go into a game saying we got to ride with our running back. I know every player that plays Texas now says, okay,
I know who to get.
If we can shut this guy down, their offense figures to be limited. I don't know if you're a defensive coordinator, what do you do? And there's going to be plays, Devon told us, where he and Isaiah are going to be in the backfield at the same time.
Correct.
So now I'm looking up there and I'm saying, okay, they've got Spiller and Achane in the backfield, and they got Weidemeyer at tight end, and Anaya Smith, and
Caleb Chapman over there as well.
Chapman, okay. Oh, wait a minute. They just shifted with Achane in the slot or whatever, and
now they're all confused.
And you've got all those guys can catch the ball. Isaiah Spiller had 20 catches last year. He had some big plays in the receiving game, and we've already talked about Achane. I mean, he has wide receiver speed at running back. So there's all kinds of things, but
the naysayers though, OB will say, but this offensive line, they haven't proven themselves.
And it's true. It hadn't. Even though Jimbo Fisher, who I do believe is a straight shooter, has said that he thinks that this offensive line could be better.
Could be better, yep.
And we've talked about, we think individually, as individual talents, they are. I think, well, first of all, you got Kenyon Green, or no problem there, but we think that just in talent, that Layden Robinson could be better than Jared Hocker, at the very least, just as good, talent-wise. We think Bryce Foster is talented enough to come in here and start as a freshman,
which is
Akinola,
ridiculous to me. But that shows how good he is.
Yeah, he's so big and physical. And then Akinola Goombi, I think looks. We've heard about him is that this guy's going to be a star. Jake Matthews, if his shoulder holds up, he's. They were telling us last year. He and McCollum were interchangeable. I don't know if Jameer Johnson's as good as, say, Carson Green, but I do know that he has starting experience in the SEC. So I think the offensive line, even if it's not as good, maybe it's not going to be one of the 3 best in the country, but for those
15th,
so those opponents that are banking on, their offensive line, they're going to have offensive line problems. I think, you may be barking up the old wrong tree.
And to bring it back a quarterback, it is very possible that the quarterback position is a step up.
I think that if it's Haynes King, I think it's going to be Haynes King. I've said that. I think Haynes King at some point will be better than Kellen Mond.
Maybe not week 2, week 3.
Well, I don't even know if it'll be this season, right? I don't think he has to be. I think he has to play well within himself and just get the ball to the guys around him. Now, maybe he will be. Maybe he'll be that guy that does want to take more deep throws, deep shots. Maybe he's the guy that sees the layup in the run. He's rolling out and he sees that there's a running lane. And he's less. Sometimes Kellen was hesitant to take it.
Sure.
Well, maybe he's going to be the guy that just takes off and it's a 40-yard gain. I think what he has to do is just be able to read the defense and understand where the ball is going to go. Now, I say that's just what he has to do. That's a hard thing to do. But Fisher says he gets the offense, so we'll see. But I know one thing he can do that's going to make him successful is get the ball in the hands of Devon Achane.
Yep. Hey, right now I want to talk about my friend Chance McClain and Heritage Films, yourheritagefilm.com. I've been talking about it now for a couple of weeks, and I hope you guys are paying attention because, life is so precious, and these memories, they do fade with time. If you don't have it documented, how are your kids or their kids going to find out about the stories that your family has gone through? And I'm talking, that's what Chance McClain excels at. One of the most creative. In fact, he is the most creative person I know. He's done radio. He's done movies. He's done documentaries, red carpet shows, you name it. Broadway musical as well. He goes in, and it takes about 2 months, but he'll interview your family. Let's say you're doing it on your father. He'll find out everything. He'll ask for some pictures. It's a great time. It takes about 2 months to put it together. And when you get it back, you're like, dude, did I just get a membership to Netflix that I didn't expect with this awesome documentary about my dad? That's exactly what he does. And it's something that you really, really need to take advantage about. He's a slave to the process. He wants to get it right. And this is like inviting your friend over. He is actually friends. We were at lunch a couple weeks back. He's friends with the older folks more than he is with people his age. And he's, almost 50, late 40s. And that's his group. That's the people he feels more comfortable around, and he loves telling their stories. Check it out, yourheritagefilm.com, yourheritagefilm.com, 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341.
Your home for the Houston Astros is Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Zone.
In remembrance of the 20th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks, the 12th Man Foundation will be standing for America to recreate the 2001 red, white, and blue out of Kyle Field. For the Aggie football home opener on September 4th, all fans in attendance are asked to wear red, white, or blue depending on your ticket location. To find out your color assignment and where to buy your official event t-shirt, go to 12thman.com and click the quick link to Red, White, and Blue Out. All proceeds from shirt sales benefit Texas A&M Task Force 1 and Points of Light Foundation.
Bryan Broadcasting is your home for high school football. Bryan High, A&M Consolidated, Rudder, and College Station High play on the Bryan Broadcasting family of stations. No matter where you are, hear every play, every game, all season long, thanks to Prosperity Bank, Kelly Burt Dozer, Zwerneman Flooring, and BCS Toyota. To find out when and where to hear your favorite team, go to brazosfootball.com.
Hi, this is Jeff Vanderwood with Veribank. Veribank is continuing to grow in the Brazos Valley with a brand new full-service banking center on Highway 6 in front of Academy. We have a team of genuine bankers specializing in personal and business banking, wealth management, and investor real estate lending ready to serve you. Veribank is here to help you succeed financially, and you can bank on it.
Visit verabank.com today. That's VERA bank.com. Verabank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Need help with your high wind or hail damage claims? Call Larry Winkler and the fine folks at United. United Roofing is your local professional family-owned business with over 40 years of service in the Brazos Valley. United is your insurance claims specialist, providing the most comprehensive full system labor and material warranty in the roofing industry. Call United today at 268-ROOF.
At United Roofing and Sheet Metal, we've got you covered inside and out.
This is ESPN Radio. Joey Votto got that 2,000 hit tonight.
The more I play here, the more I realize how lucky I am.
Victor Cruz, Super Bowl champ.
I just wanted to feel special this morning, guys.
Charlotte Flair, the 13-time WWE champion.
Hey guys, Alan Faneca, Hall of Fame class of 2021.
I've been waiting, let's do it.
Super Bowl champion Donald Driver.
I love the game. I watch the game more now than I did when I actually played.
Drew Bledsoe, Super Bowl champion.
Keyshawn, if I ever stopped yelling at you, didn't even think I didn't care.
Terrence Bud Crawford, the WBO welterweight champion.
I just know in my heart that I can beat him.
Cowboys legend and now Hall of Fame wide receiver Drew Pearson.
But now that I'm in Canton, I don't even think I used the airplane to get here.
Justin Herbert, Los Angeles Chargers quarterback.
A lot of fun last year, but a lot more room to grow.
Lane Kiffin joins us, Ole Miss head coach.
A big part of my motivation was he, because he sent me pictures when I'm on TV of how fat I am.
ESPN Radio, weeknights and weekends on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Zone.
It is TexAgs Radio, presented by David Garner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Jamming here on YouTube Jams here as we get into the final segment of the Go Hour with OB. Olin Buchanan here with us as we finish it up. And we threw out a topic that I think Tori's going to help us understand the vibe out there. Who is your favorite for the Heisman this year? OB, I don't know if you gave us your answer to that. I think we started talking about it, then went elsewhere. Is there a person that you think, yeah, this is probably the front runner? Because I know we spent a lot of time on Aggie perspective on it.
I think the guy that's going to be the favorite is Spencer Rattler.
Yep.
He's going to check all the boxes. He puts up big numbers. Again,
plays for Oklahoma.
He plays for Oklahoma, which is probably going to win the Big 12, which is going to be they're ranked high. I've said it before. The quarterback of a national championship contender is almost always a Heisman contender. He's going to put up big numbers. If for no other reason, his receivers are always going to be better than the guys that are covering them in the Big 12. So look for him to put up big numbers, have a chance to have a unbeaten or one-loss season. I can't imagine them losing twice. Can't see Texas beating them. Maybe Iowa State does. But I just think he has the position. More quarterbacks win than anything else. He has the schedule. He has a good team. And he's going to put up stats.
Yeah, a system that is quarterback friendly, that has put up stats. What about I always struggle saying his name, DJU.
Ugali. Yeah.
Excuse me.
I think if anybody is going to be that guy out of the ACC, it'll be Sam Howell.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be so dependent on Sam Howell leading North Carolina to a win over Clemson. If that happens, I think your eyes go up because they're not going to do it if Sam Howell doesn't play well. So then the eyebrows raise. Hey, wait, they just beat Clemson. Well, if DJ Ogulari or however you say it, if they beat North Carolina, so what? Who are they going to beat?
Uyunglele.
Maybe if they beat Georgia.
Can you say it for the people? Say it out loud.
DJ Uyunglele.
Whatever.
I can't do that.
Yeah.
Not can even try.
But now, if they go out and beat Georgia in the first game, and he is the reason,
now,
then again, I think also the key is playing big in your biggest games.
Do you, and we'll get to Tori here in a moment, do you feel like North Carolina at times is looked on the way A&M is looked on, meaning prove it to us? get the victory, and now we'll take you serious.
I think North Carolina is ascending. I think if you put it in a cast, A&M would be in that second group, and then I think North Carolina would be in the third.
Group. Yep. Tori Esprevo in the News and Social Center. Tori, share with us the thoughts of the people.
Yes, I have Dave and Edmonds saying Rattler might be this year's Tua. If you remember, he was the Heisman leader by far. The press hyped him up so much, I feel like there was an actual voter backlash for Kyler that year. And then we have some TexAgs subscribers saying, I think Aggie's best chance is Spiller across the nation. It will be someone we aren't mentioning. And someone responded to that saying, someone we aren't talking about. Who? I don't know. But this year seems like this year is where someone comes out of the blue to win.
Well, let's bring up a couple of, I don't want to even say recent, but a couple examples that hit home. Johnny Manziel, Jameis Winston. Came out of the blue. They weren't people that we were discussing in August.
Cam Newton,
there you go. Another one. Which, looking back, like, of course. But no, not of course, because they hadn't proven anything. There was no reason to believe it. A&M was entering the SEC at the time. We did not believe that they were going to, maybe we did, our listeners, but the world did not believe that they were going to storm through the SEC the way they did.
Yeah, I think you see surprise teams every year. You see surprise candidates every year.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's always a good thing to speculate. Who's going to be the surprise team?
There's going to be somebody. OB, thank you very much, brother.
I think A&M was last year.
They were. This year, they've broken down that door. All right, in the 9 o'clock hour, Chris Gordy of Locked On SEC joining us. Shereen Williams breaking down all things NFL and Aggies. Connor O'Gara, Saturday Down South in the 10 o'clock hour. And Zane's going to catch us up on all the pros out there in the NFL at 10:35. All Aggie pros, I should say. We'll have that and more. You're listening to TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
Our publications reach every corner of the Brazos Valley, and we want to partner with you in sharing your message with the community. You may recognize a few of our Bryan Broadcasting publications.
Best of the Brazos Valley.
Brazos Life, the annual manual.
Welcome home, Brazos Valley.
Brazos Family. Brazos Wellness.
Brazos Valley Bride.
Peace, Brazos Christian Life.
With the combined power of 7 magazine titles, 11 radio stations, and digital solutions, Bryan Broadcasting Publications can help you be heard. Call 979-695-9595 to learn more.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and our sponsors for backing the Aggies all season long. First Financial Bank, Bryan College Station Toyota, Rudy's Barbecue, Schulte Roofing, The Sleep Station, and Pioneer Steel. Here's a big gig-em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
Listen to The Zone online at RadioAggieland.com. Don't miss Louie, Chip, TexAgs, or your favorite Aggie teams as they play on The Zone. Listen online at RadioAggieland.com. This is KCNE College Station Bryan.
From WTAW, I'm Chelsea Reber with a news update on The Zone. Brazos County Health Authority Dr. Seth Sullivan told reporters yesterday that the local vaccination rate among 12 to 18-year-olds is less than 20%. He and the superintendents of the Bryan and College Station school districts continue to call for wearing masks. BISD Superintendent Christy Whitbeck said based on the campus, she estimated masks are being worn by 25 to 50% of students and employees.
I will say that in our efforts to increase these numbers, Friday I did speak with all leaders via Zoom, and I did ask and encourage even more that they consider wearing the mask when they're out and about in the building. That's what I will do.
CSISD Superintendent Mike Martindale believes more masks are being worn inside elementary school buildings. The last regular meeting of the Bryan ISD School Board included approving a contract to have a third-party inspection of parts of the district's new third intermediate school. The commissioning of the new school's mechanical and plumbing systems is required by code, according to BISD's construction manager, Paul Buckner.
And they will work hand in hand with our testing and balancing company when that comes about later on in this project to make sure that all of the systems are working as they're designed and that they meet energy code.
Board members unanimously approved the $115,000 contract, which is part of the nearly $46 million project budget. The driver of a mail truck was taken to a hospital for treatment of minor injuries following a crash yesterday afternoon in front of Consolidated High School. College Station police report a car going west on Harvey Mitchell Parkway turned in front of the oncoming mail truck. The driver of the car was ticketed for failing to yield. United Way of the Brazos Valley reports after the first week of voting, the agency is in position to receive a $25,000 grant in a nationwide competition. As of yesterday morning, UWBV was 31st in a competition to get one of 40 grants out of 200 finalists. A link to vote every day through Friday is at uwbv.org. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
We think it's time for a laugh. Bryan Broadcasting and the Nikki Peterson Talent Network present Good Clean Fun, a comedy night with Carrie Pomeroli.
So you guys, yes, I am a member of the Mommy Mafia. I have 2 kids. I have a 4-year-old and a good one.
Hollywood's favorite clean comedian is live in College Station Friday, September 3rd at 7 p.m. at Skybreak Church.
I was in the Zumba class, and there's this teacher, right? And she's all cute and sassy, and she's like, shake what your mama gave you. I'm in the back are going, my mama gave me sciatica and allergies.
Bring your friends, bring a date, bring anyone who's ready for a good time.
You guys, who's happy just to be out of the house? Really? Right?
Good Clean Fun, a comedy night with Carrie Pomeroli, September 3rd, presented by Nikki Peterson Talent Network. Be discovered. Thanks in part to our sponsors, Strata Auto Repair, Mark's Manny's Appliance Repair and Cleaning Service, Dirt Road Rustics Furniture and Home Decor, Buff City Soap, Soap Makery, and Longway Home Adoptables. Tickets, VIP, and group packages available at BryanBroadcasting.com.
Good morning, sports fans. I'm Zach Taylor with your Aggie Sports Minute on The Zone. This Sports Minute is brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click HilcoSupply.com. 4 Texas A&M football players have been named to the AP preseason All-America team. Offensive lineman Kenyon Green and defensive lineman DeMarvin Leal were among the first-team honorees, while running back Isaiah Spiller and tight end Jalen Wademeyer were named to the second team. And staying on the gridiron, the Aggies have often featured a very different approach when it comes to kickoff returns, opting to fair catch and automatically get to the 25 instead of running it back. Coach Jimbo Fisher was asked if he plans on keeping that philosophy this season.
If you average 25 yards a return, wouldn't that put you about top 10? It'd be real good. Now, you say you don't have a chance for the big play, which is right. So we have to do a good job if a kicker, his hang time, how athletic they are on the field, what's going on, how our matchups are, to what we'll do. But we'll definitely take shots at it. There's no doubt.
Now, the Aggies returned only 3 kicks all of last season for an average of 10 yards per attempt. We'll see what they do on September 4th when they open up the year against Kent State at Kyle Field. 9th-ranked A&M women's soccer is looking to find its footing after dropping 2 top 10 matches to open the season. The Maroon and White face another highly touted team this Saturday when they welcome 7th-ranked Clemson to town. To get Coach G. Guerreri's take, as well as some of the players, tune into the Aggie Soccer Hour with Coach G tonight from 6 to 7 on Gospel 97.3 FM. And that's been your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. On The Zone, I'm Zach Taylor.
You can hear Astros baseball on The Zone, 1150 AM and 93.7 FM, plus Gospel 97.3 FM. Astros baseball on Bryan Broadcasting is brought to you by Kelly Burt Doe. Battle for the best record in the American League. Listen in as the Astros contend for another World Series title. Astros baseball on The Zone and Gospel 97.3 FM is brought to you by Kelly Burt Dozer and in part by First Financial Bank.
All right, TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Thanks to our friends, Jason and the gang over there, Keith. They do such great work. I'm going to meet up with Jackson actually tomorrow with my wife to go over our insurance goals and opportunities out there. Their headquarters is on Highway 6 right here in College Station. Call 888-44-ROLLO or go to rolloinsurance.com. So this alliance thing, and by the way, we're efforting Chris Gordy of Locked On SEC. We'll see if we get him here momentarily. But this alliance thing, I understand why many of you out there feel like it's a nothing move. I get it. Like, I mean, what is actually going to come of it? Who cares? All right, you schedule together. But what I think it says more than anything is power in numbers. SEC, you're very strong, and we're going to do everything in our power to minimize your voice in vote settings. And if these three conferences, and I don't think it's been announced yet, but it's expected to happen today. But if these three conferences want to block the voice of the SEC when you're trying to expand the college football playoffs, they absolutely can do that. It's, again, a strength in numbers. And the way that Pete Thamel kind of explains it is that each team in the three conferences would play against the other two leagues on an annual basis, at least one game, right? And in most cases, those games would rotate, right? So you would have Big Ten teams playing at least one Pac-12 team in their season as well as an ACC team, right? And the Big Ten already has 9 conference games in their schedule. They would drop that to 8 so they can get this, right? And their season then would consist of 6 games in their division, plus the crossover games as well, the 2 crossover games. ACC, on the other hand, has their 8 conference games on there, and they would still play a Pac-12 team. So, again, that's the framework of the way Thamel is reporting it. We will see if that comes to fruition. But again, I think it is what they're hoping for is strength in numbers. And with that, we go to Chris Gordy, Locked On SEC, who joins us also on iHeartRadio. You hear him on Sports Talk 790 in Houston. Gordy, so we're kind of talking about this alliance thing, and I don't think it's a bad move by them. I also don't think it's a huge move by them either. I think it's a calculated, hoping to pause the inevitable. How do you see it?
It's very strange. I mean, I've been trying to figure out this whole thing. It's kind of like they're talking about getting together, but nobody really knows the particulars of what this means. Is this going to be their own thing separate from the NCAA? Obviously, this is an answer to what the SEC is doing and expanding it out in Texas and Oklahoma, but nobody really knows how this will work. I mean, is it as simple as saying, we're going to form our own alliance and we're going to play, the Pac-12 schools are going to play the ACC schools? And everybody I talked to said, no, it's not that simple. And so I really am curious to see, as more specifics come out about this, what exactly it is. It's obviously a response to what happened with the SEC, and they're trying to, team up and say, the dynamic of the power shift in college football with the SEC being so dominant and adding 2 more dominant programs. But man, it's just the more and more I read about it, I'm like, what is this?
Well, I think the main goal is to block anything the SEC wants to do with power and numbers, right? So if the SEC is ready, let's say next year, there's many who believe, I think Matt Hayes reported that he really believes, or he's hearing that Texas and Oklahoma in the SEC as soon as next year. Let's just say that were to happen and they're ready to do this expansion of the playoffs. If the Big Ten, Pac-12, and ACC say no, they won't have the votes, right? Am I understanding that the way you do?
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. And again, it's all the dynamic of the power shift and the money and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't know where this is going to leave everybody else. I mean, that's the other part of this is, where does this leave the remnants of the Big 12? Where does this leave the American? Where does this leave all those other conferences out there? It's very strange. And when I heard 2 weeks ago that the Pac-12 was meeting with, the Big 12 remaining members, I said, okay, well, that makes sense. And then that's kind of gone away now. And now it's this thing with the Pac-12, the ACC, and them all getting together. But man, I really don't know what this is going to lead to.
Yeah, I struggle with it. And I'm going to tell you the truth. I want, anytime A&M is playing Oklahoma State, Baylor, TCU, I want them to smash them 86-0, right? And I want it to be worse when they take on the University of Texas. That being said, I don't want a world where those schools aren't playing big boy football either. Like I do want them to have a landing spot and then get crushed. But I do, I think this sets a bad precedent for the future where schools that, look, Oklahoma State, Mike Gundy has done a wonderful job there from a football perspective the last decade and change that he's been there. In a world where they aren't in the big boy leagues, I think is wrong.
Yeah, somebody brought up, could this be kind of like what we have with Division I, where you have your tournament and, Sam Houston State and those kind of schools, they play their own little, field of whatever postseason. And, maybe that's what this is that they're going to set up for. We're going to create our own college football league. And yeah, you'll have a postseason where Oregon is in there and Clemson's in there and Florida State. But I'm with you. I mean, if Oklahoma State and the TCUs and those schools are not in it, what are we doing here? I mean, it's almost like everybody's taking their ball and going home because the SEC is big, bad, and powerful. Like, you guys still make money. You guys still can play big-time college football with everybody else. And so that's what's going to be interesting, David, over these next couple of years is we know the NCAA is kind of dead to rights here, and they're probably going to go by the wayside in the next couple of years. The question is what happens after the NCAA? What happens? Is there still a grouping where all the Power 5 or top Power 5 Division I schools can all still play under the same umbrella?
So we had Pete Thamel on the show, not Pete Thamel, excuse me. We had a Pete Futek on the show yesterday, and he was pretty clear in his thoughts, seeing that this is coming like sooner than later. So when you put your hat on, where do you see? So the announcement with the alliance is going to happen probably today at some point. What is the next move you think if that were to happen for the SEC?
I think you got to figure out your regular season schedules, right? I mean, that's what needs to be the first thing that you need to talk about, because we can talk about postseason and all this kind of stuff, but as far as conference expansion goes, and I still make the case, geography has to play a part in this. That's why I kept saying, when the Pac-12 was talking about playing ACC schools, I'm like, are you really going to have Clemson flying all the way across the country to go play in Eugene, Oregon, then back to Chapel Hill, then back out to Corvallis? I mean, that stuff doesn't make sense. And people say, oh, they'll figure it out. Oh, the money doesn't cost. No, it's a lot of money to send an equipment truck halfway across the country every freaking week, back and forth. And so that's where I think the next step is, what happens with the conferences? I mean, does the Pac-12 stay what the Pac-12 is? Does the ACC stay what the ACC is? I mean, everybody's looking at what Texas and Oklahoma joining the SEC, and it's all become, do we expand? Do we expand? Do we expand? And so whatever this coalition is, this alliance behind closed doors is going to become, what's going to happen in the immediate future with the conferences? Who's going to expand? Who's going to add who? I think that's what's going to happen in these next couple of weeks. And again, like we talked about, the remnants of the Big 12, where do those guys go? The American, do they stay put? There's already some talks of some teams in the American want to jump ship. So to me, that's the more immediacy, because we keep saying it sounds like Texas and Oklahoma could happen as early as next year, 2022. The more and more people I talk to now, they're saying, it's kind of seeming like more the earliest will be 2023, 2024. There's a lot of things behind closed doors that need to be worked out before this happens. So if that's said, these other conferences, they got to figure out what's going to happen in their immediate future, just as far as scheduling, because you got to start. All these schedules are kind of set up for the next couple of years. What's going to happen with the fallout if all these conferences start crumbling?
So I want to ask you on Locked On SEC. I know you came away with the 5 biggest questions heading into the start of SEC football. If you guys want to check out his podcast, it's available everywhere, YouTube and obviously Apple and iTunes. Any questions that came up in regards to Texas A&M on your behalf?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the quarterback play is the big one for me. We expect it to be Haynes King. How quickly can he adapt and adjust and become the guy? But today's episode, we actually did 10 bold predictions for the SEC season. And A&M, I didn't go that bold. I just said Jalen Watermeyer is going to lead the team in receptions this year. Not that bold. Obviously, he did last year, just had a couple more than Anaya Smith. But I think Jalen Watermeyer is going to be that guy that takes his game to the next level. I think he's going to be talked about as one of the top tight ends in next year's draft. And I think he takes his game that much higher this year, and he's going to catch a ton of balls. I was really close, though, David, to saying my bold prediction was going to be that the Aggie secondary leads the SEC in interceptions this year. I just got a feeling that they are going to force turnovers with that pressure up front, the Marvin Lee Allen company. I think they are going to get their hands on a lot of footballs this year. I think there's a really good chance the Aggie secondary leads the conference in interceptions.
Well, Jones Island back there, right? You've got a couple of you've got veterans out there, super seniors. You've got youth. You've got length. If those guys reach their potential, along with what you mentioned there on the defensive line, there's no reason to say that they won't be in that mix.
Yeah, and you think of how far they've come. I mean, it felt like through all the Sumlin years, man, the secondary, you had some good corners here and there, but man, it just felt like few and far between where they getting turnovers and it was always you struggle with linebacker play and the secondary. Like I said, you always had good players, but they just could never get those big turnovers in the big games like the Alabama and the LSU games. I think this year you're going to see that. I think the secondary is going to get their hands on more balls this year, and especially in those big games, the Alabama game, the LSU game. Those are the games when it matters most.
So, Chris, by the way, Chris Gordy, Locked on SEC there. You can listen to his podcast a lot and obviously on iHeartRadio as well. We are doing, he's on the BCSI hotline, by the way. We're doing a 21 and 21 series where we're breaking down the 21 best Aggie football players. Today is number 4, Anaya Smith, and he, as you mentioned there with Jalen Watermeyer, can do it all, my man. And when you have a player that has the ability to return punts, be in the backfield, split out wide, you name it, how important is he to A&M success this year?
I mean, he's huge. It's unbelievable what that guy can do. You know, when I went back and watched the highlights last year, again, I think it's no surprise to you guys in Aggie country, you know what he can do. But I think a lot of people around the country, you know, when you talk about the run game, it always starts with Isaiah Spiller and then Achane and what he was able to do, you know, down the stretch of last year and in the bowl game. But I think people forget how good of a runner Anaya Smith is. And I think obviously he gets a lot of focus as the receiver coming out there and moving him around in all these different spots. But I still think he's going to be a big factor in the run game. I do. I think they're going to use him a lot. I think he's good. I think I would not be surprised if at the end of the year we look at it and say he's maybe the second leading rusher behind Spiller. I know Achane gets a lot of attention and all that, and he's got that breakaway speed and he can put up bulk yardage. But I think we look back at the end of the year and we say Anaya Smith is the second leading rusher and the second leading receiver, and kind of in that same spot where he was a year ago. I want to see some of these other guys step up at the receiver spot. If they're going to be successful with Haynes King at quarterback, man, Damon Demas, the lights got to click on this year. Like, he's got to have a big year. I want to see some of these receivers have big years. If at the end of the year we're talking about Jalen Watermeyer and Anaya Smith are the number 1 and number 2 receivers, I don't know if that's good enough. I don't know if that's good enough to beat an Alabama. Like, they've got to have that vertical threat from somebody else. Has to step up throughout this season.
Gordy, I'm not as concerned with Demas because Caleb Chapman's back, and I do believe Chase Lane is going to take a huge step up. And there's only so many balls to go out there, right? So now, while I agree with you, long-term, that's the success that they need to have. I think this year with Caleb Chapman coming back, if he can scratch the surface of what he did in those games that he started feeling it before his injury, he might be the guy we're talking about.
Yeah, and that's a great point. And that's exactly, there may be somebody else we're not even talking about today that steps up and has some big moments this year. All I'm saying is I just want to see some versatility to this offense. I want to see, maybe there was a week where they throw for more yards than they rush for. I mean, obviously we know the bread and butter is the run game, and that's how they're going to win more games more often than not this year. But there's got to be those games when Alabama is stuffing the box and you're not able to get 4 or 5 yards a clip on the ground. Can you make those big throws, and can you come up with those big catches when it matters most? And that's what it's going to take to beat the Alabamas this year in the SEC. So, look, I have full confidence in A&M. I'm going to make my full predictions next week. I may not be on my predictions, but man, I'm really liking the Aggies in that home game against Alabama. I've been in a packed Kyle Field when that place is rocking, and man, I can't wait to see, David, how much tickets are going to be going for in that game, because I know everybody and their brother is going to be wanting to be in that house, be loud, and I think that house is going to be rocking.
Yeah, it's going to be 2 top 5 teams potentially at that point playing against each other. So I'll ask you the question we asked the audience earlier today, just get your thoughts. I know there's some obvious answers, but maybe you don't have an obvious answer. Who's your favorite for the Heisman this year?
Oh, gosh, man. I mean, the easy one, DJ Uiagalelei at Clemson, I think it's going to set up very well for him. Spencer Rattler is going to be the favorite at Oklahoma. Just every year we know what Lincoln Riley does with that quarterback spot. And Rattler's got to cut down on the interceptions. He threw way too many last year. But, if I'm looking at in the SEC, I think JT Daniels makes a lot of sense just because he over quarterback last year for Georgia. They went undefeated. He threw for a good bit of yards. There was one game where he didn't have to throw for a lot. They just ground and pounded. But I think JT Daniels has a chance. If Georgia is as good as they're supposed to be this year and they're undefeated, JT Daniels is going to be a big reason why. And I think he could be in the driver's seat for that Heisman. Almost like, some people are saying they could be like an LSU 2019 Joe Burrow type season. I don't think JT Daniels is going to put up those kind of stats, but I think Georgia could have that kind of special year this year.
Chris Gordy, where can everybody find you, my friend?
LockedOnSEC.com is the easiest way to find me. Anywhere you search for your podcast, just search Locked On SEC. We're there for you, and we'll be making our official predictions coming up these next couple of weeks.
All right, Chris Gordy there on the BCSI hotline. Thanks so much, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, David.
All right, good stuff there with him. And if you want to be part of the discussion, we have an open segment coming up, 979-693-1150, the BCSI hotline. And you can also text us on the AMB text line. We'd appreciate that. But right now, I want you to text radio to 900-900 for your chance to win the big Friday giveaway, courtesy of our friends at Aggieland Outfitters. In this one, we have the A&M Adidas Sideline Woven Short Sleeve Quarter-Inch Zip. Guys, this is what the coaches are wearing. All right? It is exactly what the coaches are wearing. It is a beautiful fit. It is very trendy. It's got everything that you want in just your A&M kind of gear, right? When you go out to these games, this is the kind of clothes that you want to wear. And I will tell you this, Adidas has done such a good job. Each year, they improve the fabric. So if you have last year's, that's nice, cool. Guess what? They've improved it this year. This year, they've gotten it better. And this is the thing about Aggieland Outfitters. They're always searching for the top quality out there. So you're not going to get stuff that's going to go bad, right? This is stuff that's going to last a very long time. Their fabric's a lot better than any other. They keep improving it every year. Again, the coaches are wearing this. You want to get it made out of 100% recycled polyester, aero-ready technology. It's got the Lone Star logo on the front left of the chest. It's very nice, and it is valued at $69.99. The coaches are wearing it. Why not you sneak in, act like a coach? That's what I say. Don't tell them that I told you to do it. It is Aggieland Outfitters.
Listen in to the Louis Bellina Show, weekdays from 11 to 2 here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM, The Zone.
In remembrance of the 20th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks, the 12th Man Foundation will be standing for America to recreate the 2001 red, white, and blue out of Kyle Field. For the Aggie football home opener on September 4th, all fans in attendance are asked to wear red, white, or blue depending on your ticket location. To find out your color assignment and where to buy your official event t-shirt, go to 12thman.com and click the quick link to Red, White, and Blue Out. All proceeds from shirt sales benefit Texas A&M Task Force 1 and Points of Light Foundation.
Howdy, this is Brad Beard with Intercon. You would not buy a car, boat, or major appliance if the warranty only covered material, leaving you to pay labor, freight, and other charges. So don't make the same mistake when making a window or glass purchase. With many players in the window industry, limited warranties are truly limited. At Intercon, the warranties we provide cover 100% of the cost to get the product performing as it should. The labor and freight charges on other vendors' warranties can add up to hundreds, even thousands of dollars. Ask questions about other warranties offered. What costs are not covered? Are they transferable? What happens if a vendor goes out of business? Intercon does not represent any fly-by-night manufacturers who change their name and product line continually. We have long-standing relationships with our vendors and offer the best warranties in the business. Years down the road, Intercon will still be in the Brazos Valley, making sure the product we sold you lives up to expectations. Call Intercon and get the best product at the best price with the best service.
When it comes to windows for your most valuable asset, trust your local friends and neighbors from Intercon. Call Brad Beard with Intercon at 823-3639. That's 823-3639 for Intercon today.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents
and Doug. And we're back with Limu, Emu, and Doug for the final question. Category is things you climb.
All right, Limu, what do you think? You sure? We're going with Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Oh, so close. We were looking for stairs.
Huh.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
This is ESPN Radio. Joey Votto got that 2,000 hit tonight.
The more I play here, the more I realize how lucky I am.
Victor Cruz, Super Bowl champ.
I just wanted to feel special this morning, guys.
Charlotte Flair, the 13-time WWE champion.
Hey, guys. Alan Faneca, Hall of Fame class of 2021.
I've been waiting, let's do it.
Super Bowl champion Donald Driver.
I love the game. I watch the game more now than I did when I actually played.
Drew Bledsoe, Super Bowl champion.
Keyshawn, if I ever stopped yelling at you, then you would think I didn't care.
Terrence Bud Crawford, the WBO welterweight champion.
I just know in my heart that I can beat him.
Cowboys legend and now Hall of Fame wide receiver Drew Pearson.
But now that I'm in Canton, I don't even think I used the airplane to get here.
Justin Herbert, Los Angeles Chargers quarterback.
A lot of fun last year, but a lot more room to grow.
Lane Kiffin joins us, Ole Miss head coach.
A big part of my motivation was he, because he sent me pictures when I'm on TV of how fat I am.
ESPN Radio, weeknights and weekends on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Zone.
TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Donnie just walked in here and says, I look good in purple. Dalton, does this look purple to you?
Yeah, but I'm colorblind, so I'm a bad judge of that.
So it's not purple. I understand why people think it is. It's blue and red, but together it gives that purple look to it, but it's blue and red. And the people on radio world are like, why are you talking about the color of your shirt? Get over it, bro. I will talk a little bit about what Gordy had to say there in regards to the wide receiver stepping up. I do agree with that. I think that is an area of concern. There's no doubt about that. But it doesn't have to be Demas. It doesn't have to be Moose Muhammad. It just needs to be the group in total. And I put Anaya Smith in that group, and I put Jalen Wademeyer in that group, and I put Caleb Chapman in that group. So is there a reason, or is there a reason for concern? Sure, I get it. Yeah, of course there is. You know, especially knowing the injury situation there. I get it. I understand the reasons for concern. Heads is, shoulder injury and whatnot. I get it. But I am very high on what I've seen from Caleb Chapman. I'm going to see him again later today. I'm very high. Obviously, we're all high on what Anais can do and what Wademeyer can do. If the offensive line is as good as we hope that they can, okay, maybe not as good as we hope they can be, but last year, what were they, 5, let's call it. If they're in the 15 to 20 with the skill positions around, and I think they're going to be better than that for the record, but I'm just choosing a number out there for the hypothetical. They take a little step back, but overall, the other guys take a step forward. I think Anais will be better this year than he was last year, and he was great last year. I believe Isaiah is going to be better. Jalen is going to be better. Achane's going to be better. Those reasons alone, right? Now we're talking about the wide receiver spot in general. If Chapman is feeling himself, if he can get back to the level that we saw, now we've got that deep threat. So I am not as concerned about it just because I think there is strength in numbers and there's a lot of talent in that position that someone is going to step up. And the fact that you've got a guy like Anaya Smith, who is our number 4 in 21 and 21 presented by Factory Builder Stores, the fact that you have a guy like that can be used in so many different ways opens up everybody else. The chaos when he's on the field. What about the chaos if he and Achane are on the field? That is like defensive coordinator's nightmare. So for those reasons alone, I do agree that there has to be growth in that position, and I think that growth is coming. And there's no reason not to believe the guys that were great, they're going to be better. Spiller is going to be better. I believe Anais is going to be better. Achane's going to get more opportunities this year. Achane, and you pair Caleb Chapman, injury alone, that hurt them so much last year from a vertical threat. If he's coming back the way we expect him to do, I am not worried about some of the other guys. And I think the Moose Muhammads of the world at some point are going to contribute. I do. Keith Brown, perhaps. So there's a lot of other options out there that we don't have to zero target one wide receiver. Caleb Chapman is going to take a step forward. Chase Lane's going to take a step forward. So there's a lot of other guys that if we see what they did last year, and hey, look, what Haynes does there at quarterback is going to go a long way in the way he reads. Now, Kellen had his checks, his balances, the way he went about his business. We're going to have a completely different feel at quarterback. So along with that, that's why when Gordy brings that up, as much as I agree, I am not as worried. I have other worries, but I'm not as worried there as perhaps some others would be. A moment now for our friends at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Zach Hester, I bet you if we had a camera in his office right now, he's doing curls while riding a bicycle, doing Peloton or whatever, and also helping people with customer service and selling vehicles and just being an Ironman, everything he does. That's what Zach does. He's doing curls and push-ups at the same time. I don't know how you can do that. Zach Hester can do it. He also can give you the best customer service out there. And when you go to Caldwell Country Chevrolet, you're going to feel the difference the moment you step on that lot. They've got deals upon deals upon deals. You're trying to get rid of your vehicle. You're like, hey, man, I want to take advantage of this. The inventory is low. Let me try to sell it. Yes, they want you to do that. Absolutely. It takes about 15 minutes to get from Bryan to Caldwell, just a short conversation away. But the moment you get there, you're going to see the difference out there because that's what Zach and the fellows do there at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell and online at caldwellcountrychevrolet.com.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone. Hundreds of books geared to young readers will be on sale this Saturday at the Clara B. Mounts Library in downtown Bryan. Doors open to members of the Bryan College Station Friends of the Library at 9 a.m. and to the general public at 10 a.m. The Arts Council of Brazos Valley is hosting Celebrate the Arts on Wednesday, September 1st, starting at 6 p.m. at the Stella Hotel. Purchase your tickets online at acbv.org. Registration is now open for nonprofits wanting to participate in this year's Brazos Valley Gives event. Register at brazosvalleygives.org. The Brazos Valley Farmers Market is open in downtown Bryan each Saturday from 8 to noon. All produce is grown locally from friends and neighbors you know and trust. It's the pregame show. End the week and start the weekend when Bryce Jones joins the Louis Bellina Show every Friday at 12:05 to talk maroon and white and more. The gang is back together weekdays from 11 to 2. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
Hey, it's David Nuño. Texas is known for football, barbecue, and hot summer temperatures. And typically, the hotter the weather, the higher your electricity bill. But with some help from Energy Ogre, a Texas technology company, you can lower your bill by up to 40%. In fact, we signed up 2 years ago, and they saved my family 35%. Energy Ogre will find you the cheapest electricity plan in your area. Manage all future contracts, saving you time and money. Go to EnergyOgre.com and enter code HOWDY for a free month of service. That's EnergyOgre.com to start saving today.
The love that I have for Texas A&M is just feeling so much a part of the school, feeling like there's always people there to support you, that you've got a friend no matter what.
I'd want to give a student the chance to do something they want to do. And the association, I know, gave a lot of my friends the ability to go forward and to actually pick the major they wanted, do the studies they wanted to do.
When I started thinking about college, I had one goal in mind, and that was my parents will not pay for my schooling.
There's a lot of kids out there who are going to make good Aggies, and we ought to give them a chance, and I'm willing to put my share in to try to help them.
Of all of our traditions that are well known, the one that sometimes gets passed over and just taken for granted is perhaps the greatest, and that's Aggies helping Aggies.
To learn more about the association's impact or to make a gift, visit tx.ag/giving.
The best is yet to come in College Station.
Chase Lane is in for a touchdown! Yes!
Head coach Jimbo Fisher and the Aggies are ready to rise to the top of the SEC.
Swing to Anaya, he's in the end zone, a 6-yard reception.
Join us Saturday, September 4th. It's the season opener versus the Kent State Golden Flashes on your home for Aggies football, the Texas A&M Sports Network.
Listen to Aggie football on 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Online at radioaggieland.com or tell your smart speaker to play Zone 1150.
TexAgs Radio, presented by Dave Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Breaking down all things happening in college football, obviously, and in the NFL. And with that, we are joined by Shereen Williams, who joins us every Tuesday. Good morning to you, Shereen.
Good morning. You put me on today. I'm so excited.
Well, good to have you on the program. We appreciate you. I did it myself. I didn't break it, so it's we're happy. So hey, I got to tell you. So I didn't watch the Cowboys Texans this past weekend. I was at a soccer event, but I know you had to watch it. How bored were you? And what can you tell me about that game?
Yeah, I like hard to watch it because that's exactly what it was. You didn't miss much by not seeing it. You know, it's a chance for the young guys, obviously, to show something and stick on the roster. And for the Texans, I think it was a little bit bigger with those 53 players that they signed in the offseason. I've cut some of those since then, but just so much turnover on that team that they really needed that time, those reps in a game situation, and they got that. So I think it was probably more important for the Texans than it was for the Cowboys, considering how few of their starters played and how short those few starters who did play played. So I think it's a mistake on the Cowboys' part. You see the Buccaneers, you know, it's going to be interesting how teams use this shorter preseason. Now, the Cowboys got the extra game with the Hall of Fame game, and then they had 3 games after that. But the Cowboys are not going to play their starters in Week 4. The Buccaneers chose to sit their starters in the second preseason game, and we'll play their starters this week and get them ready to face the Cowboys on September 9th. And the reasoning is good by Bruce Arians. He said, you know, I don't want them sitting out as long as they're going to sit out between games. Like, we need game action. And they will get that this week. Cowboys will not. They're resting all their starters, and I do think it's a big mistake, and I do think when the Cowboys come out that the Buccaneers are going to be more ready to play on September 9th than the Cowboys are. And, you know, you're worried about Dak Prescott simply because not only is he getting not getting the preseason game action, but he's not getting the practice time that he probably needs because of that lat strain that he has. So there's a lot of concern, I think, at least on my part, of what the Cowboys go into this season thinking, considering they play right off the bat the defending Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers and then follow with the game at the Chargers. I just think it's going to be a really tough start.
All guests and callers join us on the BCSI Associates hotline. You no longer have to drive to Houston or Dallas or Austin for major eye surgery such as glaucoma or cataract issues. Let Dr. K take care of you right here in the BCS. Call 979-701-2020 or check out mybcsi.com. Shereen, why are people not watching Hard Knocks? I mean, the Cowboys are an institution. What is this, the third time they've been on this show?
Yeah, it was so boring last week. I mean, it was terrible. I hope tonight's episode is better. Yeah, the first episode wasn't bad at all, and I guess the highlight of it was Jerry eating his McGriddle, salting his McGriddle before he ate his McGriddle. That was kind of the highlight, and then you had all the that stuff with the shoulder and what was going on behind the scenes. You know, they consulted with the Yankees and the Rangers, and you found that out in that episode. And then this last week was just really a letdown. There wasn't much on there. I think, yeah, this is a team that the star of the team to me is Jerry Jones. I want to see more of Jerry Jones. Now, maybe Jerry doesn't want him going behind the scenes with him, and I get that. But I want to see more of Jerry Jones in these episodes, so it'll be interesting to see what this one brings. But, yeah, maybe it served out its shelf life, that we're kind of done with it and over it. And now there's so many other things to watch that people aren't going to watch a reality show about the NFL. And I just didn't see much presented last week. I didn't even write a post on it last week. First week I wrote on Dak. This week I didn't write anything just because there was nothing to write about. Frankly, it was a boring episode.
Shereen, I know the Texans are not going to do anything this year regardless of their 2-0 preseason start. I still think they're going to be the organization is atrocious from my interactions with them. That being said, I'm seeing a different vibe from players, at least on social media. They seem happy to be there, and I know a lot of them are new, but I'm talking about like the Justin Reeds of the world, the guys that have been there for a while. Have you felt a shift in at least the way the projection from the organization?
Yeah, I got a chance to talk. Of course, David Coley has Aggie ties, was a receiver coach at A&M, and that's where I first met him. That coaching staff they had under RC that year was just incredible. Gary Kubiak was a running back coach his first year in coaching, but David Coley was the receivers coach here at A&M and still loves A&M a whole lot. And I got a chance to talk to him a little bit after the game. And Lovie Smith obviously has Texas ties. And both those guys were in Tampa at different times with me, with the Buccaneers when I covered the Buccaneers. But back to your point, yeah, they signed those 53 players. 30 of those players have 5 years of experience or more, and many of those are on one-year contracts and have a lot to prove. So I think this is a team that's going to be better than most people project. Now, when I say better, I think most people are looking at this team as a 1-win, 2-win team. I'm thinking 5, 6 games that they're going to win. I think they're going to be more competitive than people think. By no stretch do I think they're going to compete for the division title or go to the playoffs. There's no possible way. They're going to have a top draft pick. But you pointed to coaching. Coaching has been a big difference, and it's going to be a big difference, I think, for why they're going to win more than 1 or 2 games. This is a well-coached team right now, and you see the difference. The players see the difference. It's a different atmosphere around there. You can just see it. And when you talk to those players, it's just different. And I wish this coaching staff had gotten a chance to coach some of those really good teams from just, it seems like forever ago, but it was just 2 years ago, from 2 or 3 years ago. It's just amazing. This team was up, we were talking about that the other night in the press box. This is a team that was up 24-0 on Kansas City early in that divisional playoff game 2 years ago, and then nothing has gone right since then. And a lot of that is just dumb trades that they made and everything else under Bill O'Brien, and now they're starting over. And I'm with you. They've got a long way to go, and I'm not sure about the administration that they have right now, but I do know the coaching is very, very good. Probably the best coaching this team's ever had, or at least since the Gary Kubiak era.
Hey, I got to ask you about this. I think it was last week, maybe it was the week before, about Austin trying to get in the mix for the Buffalo Bills. I mean, Jerry's never going to allow that, right?
Yeah, I would think that the Cowboys and the Texans both would be opposed to that, and that wouldn't happen. I think they're going to use that as some leverage to try to get what they want out of Buffalo. I don't think that team's going to leave Buffalo, and I certainly don't think they're going to go to Austin if they leave Buffalo. I don't know if there's enough corporate money there, maybe between San Antonio and Austin. There would be, but you know, that's a college town. I think it'll always be a college town. I don't know that it's big enough to support an NFL team. Of course, you look at Green Bay and Buffalo, and you say they're not big enough to support NFL teams either, Jacksonville, but they managed to do it. I don't see that team leaving Buffalo. I think they're using that as some leverage. And you're right, Jerry would be vehemently opposed to that, and I'm sure would have some territorial rights that he could veto that, but I just don't see that happening.
Pro Football Talk, Shereen Williams on the BCSI hotline. What about Kellen? A couple preseason games. I haven't watched them. I watched the highlights on YouTube. I don't think he's looked as bad as some of the way people are writing about, but the vibe out of Minnesota, he's struggling. What can you shed light to that, or what can you tell me about that?
Yeah, you know, the problem is, David, it was just a practice time, right? He got COVID and missed 10 days of practice time. It's very valuable practice time. So he had 2 practices before the first preseason game. I didn't see all of the second preseason game. I'm with you. I just saw the highlights of that one. I haven't gone back to watch it. But he's a rookie in a rookie situation with no practice time. So I don't know what people expect when you don't practice and you're just in virtual meetings, and then you come out and play a game and then have another week of practice when you're the second-string quarterback, and then you have another game. Of course you're going to struggle. I mean, this is not unexpected. He's going to play. Minnesota does not want him to play this year. And then they go out and get a veteran, and people shouldn't panic if they go out and get a veteran. He's not going to be ready to play if Kirk Cousins is hurt. So they do need a veteran backup there just in case Kirk Cousins is hurt. So if they go and do that, it doesn't mean that they've written off Kellen Mond. It means that he's not ready to play in case Kirk Cousins gets hurt. And that very well can happen. He's going to sit and watch this year and he's not going to get a ton of reps, and he better make the most. And we know he's a hard worker, but he better make the most of that time he gets after practice, before practice, whatever, putting that time in when he can by himself to get ready and get those reps that he needs, because he's not going to get many during the season. This is a learning year for him. There's no reason to panic after 2 preseason games that followed a handful of practices. He's got a long, long way to go.
Conversely, every time I get on social media, I see somebody tweeting about Buddy Johnson. This guy just continues to make plays over there.
Yeah. Yeah, he really does. And I think no one's going to be surprised in Aggie land when this guy comes in and lights it up. Perfect team, great defense. He's going to fit right in. I think he's going to be a candidate for Defensive Rookie of the Year just because that team around him is so good. It's going to allow him to make a lot of plays. We know what he can do. We've seen it. And I think Pittsburgh's learning that they had a really good draft pick there with Buddy Johnson.
Shereen, what do you think about this alliance thing that is happening there in college football, Big Ten, Pac-12, ACC? Looks like they're going to announce it maybe later on today at some point, some kind of alliance and scheduling. You think it's just, is it something? Is there something of substance there?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. We'll see what it leads to. But if I'm Baylor or Texas Tech or TCU or SMU, I'm a little bit worried about what the future of college football is. And I had a long conversation for a scout before the game the other night, and he had been all around the country traveling to colleges. LSU. He's been to LSU. He hadn't been to A&M yet, but LSU and Alabama and Arizona State. And he said he sat down and talked with these coaches, and they think the future of college football is done as we know it. And I think it is too. I just think there's going to be many changes coming over the next 5 years, and it's going to be interesting to see where this thing ends up and how it plays out. And I don't know what the end game's going to be here, but I think there's going to be, probably these 4 conferences are going to be the big conferences, and everybody else is going to be left behind. And what that leads to, I don't know. Where it goes, I don't know. But I think it's going to be intriguing over the next 5 to 10 years to see where college football and college athletics, frankly, ends up. And each time I think I've figured out what the NIL means, I see something else. I saw where BYU has shown sponsorship for all its walk-on players. So basically now you've gotten rid of scholarship limits is what you've done with the NIL, and I hadn't even considered that. So, every time you think you figured out what the step is and what this is going to lead to, it's something else comes up. So the NIL's changed things, and now obviously with the SEC adding a couple teams, it's changed the landscape of college sports again.
Shereen, last thing for you. The feeling is we're going to find out who the quarterback is here in Aggie land sooner rather than later, if not the end of this week, early next week. That's the feeling, at least the vibe. Jimbo, you even alluded to it happening. Just how important is that heading into a game week, knowing who the quarterback is, or is the opponent / where A&M is, does it not even really matter?
Well, I think they definitely need to know in practice, and they need to start getting that quarterback ready. It's time, right? I mean, you're down to a handful of practices before your first game. You got to know who that quarterback is. The team's got to rally around him, and you've got to get in those first team snaps. That's just so important to get all those snaps to get ready. So I'm excited to see who it is, excited to see what's going to happen with this team. I can't wait for the first game. I'm starting to get a little pumped up. I keep looking at the calendar like, oh, my gosh, we're about ready to start. Pro football's still 3 weeks away, so you keep going, okay, well, it's still a little ways away, but we got college football coming, and it's so exciting, and I can't wait to see who that quarterback is, and hopefully we have a great season. Robert Cessna asked me to pick for the Eagle, and I'm a fan of college football and A&M. Like, I don't follow it like you guys do. I'm not on the inside quite like I am in the NFL, but I did the predictions for him, and I started looking at that schedule. I'm like, really, they should be favored in every game except Alabama, and that got me even more excited about what this season could bring. So I can't wait, and it's coming, and countdown to the sleeps we have left before it starts, David.
Well, Shereen, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. We'll catch up with you next week.
Thanks so much for having me.
Bye-bye now. Shereen Williams always does great work. We appreciate her. One of the nicest people I've ever met, too, for the record. All right, we got an open segment coming up. If you want to be a part of the conversation, you can call us up at 9. I almost gave you Rollo's number. You can call him too, by the way. 979-693-1150 is the BCSI hotline, or you can text us on that same number, A&B text line, Real Texas Banking. But right now, when you're in a situation where you need help, whatever it may be, emergency situation, you want to deal with the folks at Caprock Health System, right? They are just an incredible place that they are patient-centered. They want to make sure that you feel better. That's what their purpose is, right? Like, you're going to get in there, you're going to see the difference immediately. They are 100% locally owned and operated, and they've got all the things you can imagine. Laboratory testing out there, outpatient testing, radiology. They got telehealth, which became a big thing because of COVID. You can talk to your doctor, from a Zoom or from a type of Zoom, if you will. They have everything you need at Caprock, and they're all over the place. The original 24-hour ER in South College Station, voted the best in the Brazos Valley. Plus, you've got Caprock Hospital with ER in Bryan. State-of-the-art facilities designed for patient healing and family friendliness. Caprock ER hospitals are fully capable of treating all emergency medical situations.
You're listening to The Zone. The Zone. Aggieland's All Sports Station.
We think it's time for a laugh. Bryan Broadcasting and the Nikki Peterson Talent Network present Good Clean Fun, a comedy night with Carrie Pomeroli.
So you guys, yes, I am a member of the Mommy Mafia. I have 2 kids. I have a 4-year-old and a good one.
Hollywood's favorite clean comedian is live in College Station, Friday, September 3rd at 7 p.m. at Skybreak Church.
I was in the Zumba class, and there's this teacher, right? And she's all cute and sassy, and she's like, shake what your mama gave you. I'm in the back are going, my mama gave me sciatica and allergies.
Bring your friends, bring a date, bring anyone who's ready for a good time.
You guys, who's happy just to be out of the house? Really? Right?
Good Clean Fun, a comedy night with Carrie Pomeroli, September 3rd, presented by Nikki Peterson Talent Network. Be discovered. Thanks in part to our sponsors, Strata Auto Repair, Mark's Manny's Appliance Repair and Cleaning Service, Dirt Road Rustics Furniture and Home Decor, Buff City Soap, Soap Makery, and Longway Home Adoptables. Tickets, VIP, and group packages available at bryanbroadcasting.com.
Skilled trade workers are the backbone of every community, and also the Army National Guard. Soldiers trained to keep the power flowing, engines running, and in every other trade needed to accomplish the mission. These soldiers are on the fast track to learning skills that can set them up for success at home with companies looking to hire the best. Their resumes are being built through their paid training and part-time service. Find out how you too can learn a trade profession by visiting NationalGuard.com. Sponsored by the Texas Army National Guard. Aired by the Texas Association of Broadcasters and this station.
He was the heart of your family, and he taught you our history. He helped you fix your first flat. He was the best backyard DJ around. And every time he'd tell a story, he'd own the room. But now more than ever, he may feel alone. Today, older adults and their loved ones are struggling to connect, in a time when connection has never been more important. But there is something we can do. Embrace our older loved ones through StoryCorps Connect. With StoryCorps Connect, you can honor seniors remotely with an interview about their life. Every interview will be archived at the Library of Congress, becoming part of American history, so that years from now, future generations can listen in.
All right, Grandpa, what's one piece of advice you have for me?
Just 3 words, sweetheart. Live with courage.
The man that had the best stories still has plenty of stories to tell. So connect virtually and share the conversation of a lifetime at StoryCorpsConnect.org/AARP. Connect, honor, share. StoryCorps Connect. A message from AARP, StoryCorps, and the Ad Council.
Listening to The Zone on your Amazon Daughter Echo is easy. Even Louie figured it out. 2 simple steps, and you can hear Chip Howard Sports Talk, TexAgs Radio, The Louie Bellina Show, and many of your favorite A&M teams anytime, anywhere with your special friend, Alexa. Step 1, and only one time, say, Alexa, enable Zone 1150 skill. Then anytime you want to hear your favorite host or teams, all you have to do is say, Alexa, play Zone 1150. Make sure